Good evening, everyone. How's it going? Welcome to Live on the Moon at Electric Moon. This is a show that we've been doing for over the past couple months. It's a very exciting thing. It's basically we kind of take a look inside the minds of different artists, different songwriters, and we talk about the songwriting craft. We discuss our inspirations, why we do what we do, and ways that we can reach people through music and art. And without further ado, I'm very excited to share our guest with you tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, welcoming to the Artist Show, Miss Jules and the Howl.
Yo, what's up, guys? How are you? Brent, thank you for having me. This is so awesome.
How's it going? How's it going, Jules? What's up?
Everything is good. I have a couple of projects going on so far. I am shooting a music video for my upcoming single at the end of February. I'm planning out my LA debut gig. More details on that to come. So that's really exciting. I've joined a couple of other projects. One's a tribute project, one's another original project, so that's awesome. I'm actually assistant directing and co-composing a film as well. So yeah, a lot of moving parts, a lot of fun stuff. But it's good. It's all good things. All good things.
Great. That's pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I try to keep it going. Try to keep it interesting. Try to just keep stuff floating in the air, I guess. So yeah, it's been
Yeah,
good.
we have to as artists. That's very important to kind of keep changing, and when people catch up to us, we just change again.
Yeah, it's good to kind of keep yourself busy with projects. I really enjoyed a lot of the times that I've been able to collaborate with other artists, be it on a music video or a song or what have you. I actually yesterday I had a meeting with my new friend Joan from Rock Redo. She basically takes these like pieces, like a jacket or a t-shirt, whatever, and she completely like re-glamorizes it, just upgrades it, like glam to the mats, and it's just so cool. Like she's gonna do a really cool thing for my jacket for that video. So I'm really stoked about that. So it's fun to kind of continue to challenge myself both in creative ways, like visually,
Yeah,
sonically, and all that. So yeah, just
great.
try to kind of keep meeting people and continuing the creative flow. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I think collaboration is really important. I think it takes us in maybe a different place than we would expect,
Hmm.
and it improves on what we originally had designed, So it's always a healthy, positive thing as an artist to work, hand in hand with somebody else, you know.
Yeah, I'm not always the best with writing music consistently, and I knew that about myself. So I figured that one kind of good way to improve my accountability was by setting up co-writes. So I did like
Yeah,
a lot of co-writing during the pandemic, particularly. Like I did a lot of stuff over Zoom, and I ended up
yeah,
creating like some really awesome music that has come out, that will come out. Like the song I'm gonna do tonight is a co-write that I'm doing with a good producer friend of mine. Yeah, so I'm a big fan of co-writes. I'm a big fan of collabing. I'm a big fan of that. So
yeah, and
I
with
think it's also a good way, yeah, to like kind of I think it's a good way too to like like learn from another songwriter, kind of their process, how they do things, like
yeah,
what you can think about yours, vice versa. So yeah, it's I think it's just good all around, honestly.
yeah, and the one positive thing I think obviously the pandemic is a terrible thing. We've lost so many, but at the same time, when you go through a tough time, you kind of find the silver lining and kind of, I always say, build a garden out of it. So I think with all that happening, I think people really, took to Zoom and took to doing things online, which is kind of what formed Electric Moon and kind of finding ways around. So I think, without the pandemic, we wouldn't have started Electric Moon this way. There wouldn't have been as much of a need. So there's just so many unique ways of artists finding ways around, and there's people that I follow that have just got this live stream thing like down pat. They're on Twitch, they're on
Hmm.
Facebook, they're on Instagram,
Hmm.
and it's just being creative and finding ways around a terrible thing. So I think, that's one blessing that I think that we got out of this whole thing is doing things like this and
Right.
artists searching for, okay, well, I can't go to a venue and play, and I can't see my friends, and I can't collab. Well, yeah, you can. You just have to figure out a way to do it. So I think that's a heartbeat between behind Electric Moon, and finding those ways, and it sounds like you've been very useful with utilizing that as well with all the collaborations you do. And what was the one song that you did with you had kind of a hip hop artist on there, which I thought was
Oh, that was
fantastic.
fun. Yeah, this was kind of a three-way collaboration. It was called Unstoppable.
Mm,
We're trying to write like the song that you would want to hear at the Super Bowl halftime show.
yeah.
So a friend of mine from Chicago, he goes by the Noise Machine. We co-wrote that, produced that, put that together, and then we were like, this is missing something, and we were like, okay, let's just throw a whole curveball here. I've never done this. He's never done this. Let's just like try to find a rapper, better yet, a
Yeah.
female rapper, because I'm all about female empowerment and female
Yeah.
musicians.
Right on.
So, I was like, let's find a female rapper. Let's get her on here. Let's go. And so we did some research, and our mixing engineer, Gal Bushy, who's another producer friend of mine, he hit up Devin Sunshine, and it was a great vibe, and
Right.
it worked out so well. So yeah, I think when you find oftentimes limitations are often the seeds of creativity, right?
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
the pandemic, as, horrific and physically and mentally exhausting as it has been for, many reasons, it definitely, for me, kind of like forced me to kind of like rethink, like, what can I do and how can I do it?
Yeah.
Like I got a lot better at graphic design. I got a lot better at film, video
Hmm.
editing, social media, that kind of thing. But I also did things like a little bit more, not DIY, because I still worked with some professionals, of course,
Yeah.
but just like I never would have co-written with someone in Chicago while I'm in LA. Like I never
Yeah.
would have done that. And now it's like I almost kind of, I know this is kind of weird, but I almost kind of prefer writing through Zoom still, because it's
Mm.
like, I'm in my space, you're in your space. We don't have to worry
Yeah.
about finding a place or like paying for a rehearsal
True.
space to like, write a
True.
song and, kind of break that ice. So for me, I actually hope we'll probably even continue to do Zoom co-writes like long after the pandemic is
Yeah.
over.
Yeah, that's the beautiful thing, is that this kind of stuff is not going away. It's just, it
Hmm.
really is looking into the future. I mean, Amazon is not going to go away, but we still hope that people support small businesses and go into shops. But Amazon's not going away, and the live stream thing is not going away. And I want to touch upon your thought of collaboration a little bit further. It, it's always wonderful to work with people that are out of what you're familiar with too. Like, it's gonna push you down a different road, and I've always loved that. I've always loved with having maybe a drummer that's a little bit more in the hip hop world, or work with a singer that's a little bit more operatic, or whatever it is, just to get you out of your space, because something creative is gonna come out of it. And it's kind of like
Hmm.
having, well, you got two two colors, one paintbrush, one canvas, and you have to make the most of that. So limitation can be a very powerful thing to art, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I think it's sort of been in for some people like the necessary beast,
Mm, yeah.
It definitely was good for me, like for a lot of reasons. But yeah, I think, it's very much sort of making lemons out of lemonade, for as overused of a
Yeah, yeah.
as that is, but I
But
think it
that's
was
a
good
beautiful
overall.
thing. That's how
Yeah,
art thrives. That's
right.
how it thrives. And another thing about that is kind of what I like to do is when I approach a record with Arthur Autumn, I like to approach it from different instrumentation. Like, if you approach, okay, I'm this whole next record, I'm going to do all
Oh,
on
cool.
piano, or the next record I'm going to do, ukulele or whatever it's, because that's going to push you, and you're going to write differently. You're going to get out of the guitar box, which I'm kind of bored with. And that's PJ Harvey's kind of like that. Like, she'll one record is like just pretty much her playing saxophone,
Hmm.
or the next record is her just pretty much all piano and strings, and then the next. So anytime you take a different instrument and you use that as your tool, your two colors,
Yeah.
it's gonna push you in another direction. It's gonna challenge yourself and your fans, and they're gonna be like, well, you may lose some, because it's like, oh, I'm not really, yeah, I didn't really like that record, but then you gain some, and you continue to push yourself as an artist, and each record is going to have its own
Yeah, that's why
vibe.
that's why oh, sorry.
No, please.
Yeah, I mean that's why I actually really enjoy sort of getting out of my genre box and actually co-writing for other artists.
Yeah,
Like
great.
I really enjoy, really trying to challenge myself with like a hip hop track
Yeah,
or like a country song, a blues song, whatever, and like it's a really in some ways kind of cathartic exercise because like
yeah,
they are tools that I don't often get to use in my toolbox. And so when I
mhm,
have the opportunity to use them, I'm just like, like
yeah,
go, 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 like, and it's very, it's really, really fun. And also too, then like, it's fun kind of like trying to craft, a song behind the voice of another artist. Like,
yeah,
you essentially kind of try to help them tell their story.
yeah.
Like I have a project that I'm getting into, and the person that we're working with, he gave us like a collection of poetry, and he was like, I really want to turn this into,
Beautiful,
yeah, it's really
wonderful.
cool, and I yeah, and he approached a friend of mine and was like, hey, I really want this to be turned into music. Like I
Wow,
have
great.
something in my head, but I can't quite get it, and that's kind of again the beauty of what we get to do is that we get to essentially take what they're feeling and translate it into musical notation, right?
Yeah,
It's like a unique combination of like math and like sort of like emotional like intelligence at the same time. You're kind of combining those two parts of your brain, because it's got to make
yeah.
sense, of course, in terms of like how the notes go together and how the
Arrangement, yeah.
melody and like the syncopation of the song of the words and whatnot. At the
Crazy.
same time, it still has to like fit the vibe of like the piece itself.
Yeah.
So that in and of itself is such a unique project that I'm blessed that I get to be able to work on. So like it's cool. I do really enjoy the chance that I can to either write for another artist, like co-write with them to write it, or just like write with a group for the artist and the artist is not involved in the writing process kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like I really enjoyed both ends of it. So it's very cool, and it's also cool too because then you get to kind of bounce off of each other's strengths and weaknesses and their backgrounds and
Yeah.
like what where they come from and whatnot sonically. So I'm very much a big fan of collaborations for sure.
That's great. Yeah, I love that. It's one of those things too where you're kind of writing for I've always wanted to kind of write for a film. Just to have
Mm,
someone say, "Hey man, can you here's 2 hours worth of footage. Can you sing this person's character and tell their story?"
mm,
And that's just a very special cognitive opportunity because that obviously is going to push you away from your personal stuff, and you're almost writing in characters, which I love to do. Like one record I did, Sir Orchid and the Magnificent, is basically, I made up a character, but it
mhm.
still indirectly was about me. But Sir Orchid,
Right.
actually, Sir Orchid, who is
Oh yeah,
the
I know
concierge.
Sir Orchid.
Yeah,
Oh
that's
yeah.
an actual person. So I kind of dived back to that, and I kind of like obviously not to compare myself to Sergeant Pepper's or the Beatles, but kind of like what McCartney did there. They created that character,
Sure.
and they
Yeah,
said,
you
"Oh,
create
we're
your own.
tired. We're tired about being the Beatles. Who cares? Let's create a character." And then it
Right.
took them, and they created Sergeant Pepper's, and maybe
Right.
I don't know for them if it's indirectly about them, but in my case, it's characters, but there's still bits of how I was feeling at the time in Sir Orchid.
Yeah.
So I just love. I hope I can get that opportunity where someone just says, "Yeah, write music to this and tell this character's story."
I think I think that's actually why for me I've always really enjoyed like country and folk music because there's
Mm,
always a story.
right.
Like it's a very specific, direct story. I've written a couple of those in my life, and it's just such a different kind of like cathartic feeling because like you're telling, you're telling a story, a very exact one.
Yeah.
With the film that I am working on, you of course know Dave, my husband.
Yeah.
Dave
Hi,
has
Dave.
his yeah, he says hi. He's hanging out with Coda.
All right.
um,
Okay, good.
right. But so Dave has his own film production company, and their first film is shooting in April. And so,
Great.
I the song, the most recent song that I released, "Bring Me Your Tears."
Hmm.
Defo is his artist name, but he also is a film composer and goes, his name is Jared Newman. He's a very, very dear friend of mine. And Jared is, someone who I've asked to bring onto the team because I was like, wow, I don't know anything about the ins and outs about film composing, but like
Yeah.
it's something I still want to try, and I think artistically I can get it. It's just a matter of like the technical aspects, and
Hmm.
I don't quite have those production skills, but I think I can write it. And so I hit Jared up and I was like, "Yo, let's do this together. Like, let's like learn
Lab.
slash you teach me together."
Yeah.
And on top of that too, like, I mean, one thing I think, like, kind of on top of that, like talking about like, hey, can you like create the music to this film? I've also really when I was younger, I thought about one point being like a music supervisor, because that is like not quite scoring the film, but basically choosing the songs that you feel
Sure.
best communicate the moment
Yeah.
of that song, and like that
Yeah.
in and of itself I think is an art form. And like
Oh
I don't know
yeah.
how I don't know how the supervisors do it, because it's like they obviously get so many freaking submissions, so it's like, how do you choose from like this plethora of music to like find the perfect moment,
Yeah.
the perfect
Yeah.
note, the perfect whatever. So yeah, there's a lot. And what was it? I don't remember. I really don't remember what it was, but there was a point where I think I saw something where like they were just like, okay, so try to watch a film or a TV show without music, and like
Mm.
tell me what that's like. Tell me what that's like.
Yeah.
And you probably don't even hear half of the music, like notice half of the music that's underscoring so many of these moments, but like when you take
Yeah.
it out, it just feels like a soap opera, or like just some kind of like almost silent movie, because it's
Yeah.
just like it's just so eerie and
Yeah.
creepy, and it's just
Yeah.
like, what is this? So it's just it's so important in like helping to like tell those stories. So kind of going back to like how you said that you have a character that you've developed that's kind of like told this side of you, right?
Mm.
It's like Ziggy Stardust with David Bowie, right?
Yeah.
It's like kind of taking on these like sort of alter egos, or these
Yeah.
sort of other ways of Sasha Fierce, like other ways of telling like your other stories, if you will.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's really cool.
Yeah. It's gonna push you somewhere else, and I think anytime you're uncomfortable as an artist, that means you're onto something.
Yeah,
Chances are you're onto something dangerous, and
yeah.
and that's a beautiful way to be. Touching upon the silent film, I haven't tried this yet, but I keep thinking about it. Try another songwriting tool to get you out of your box is to watch a film. Just watch a film, any film, your favorite film, an emotional film, funny film, whatever your vibe is, and write music to that.
Oh,
Because you
that's
can do that.
cool.
Yeah, you can do that with headphones and watch, a character, running from someone and falling down, and you can dramatize that within your music, and that's gonna take it in a creative place that you probably wouldn't expect. And then you have a song that was written to a film. I mean, I always wonder if Pink Floyd really composed around The Wizard of Oz. I mean, did they really? Because there's a lot of lyrical, I don't know if you've seen that or if that's been on your radar, but
I don't think
there's a
I've heard
lot of
that.
lyrical connections.
I have to
Are
go
you
back and
aware of
listen.
that, what they
No, I
did?
think I might have to go back and listen.
Well, basically, what the myth is, if you line up Dark Side of the Moon with The Wizard of Oz
Hmm.
and watch it, you can YouTube it now, but back in the day, you had to line it up after the third MGM roar. And
Okay.
after the third MGM roar, you start The Wizard of Oz, the original, and you
Right.
start Dark Side of the Moon together,
Mhm.
and you see all these similarities in the lyric that are in the film, and it's mind blowing. So if they didn't really
Wow.
time it like that, for instance, when the song Money, Money, how it starts with the coins,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
boom, ba da dum, boom, and it starts with the
Right.
coins. The witch is on her bike and the bell rings at the exact same time. No, actually, the bell rings on the Pink Floyd in the early part of the record. That rings when the bell rings um, in The Wizard of Oz, and Money starts right when The Wizard of Oz goes to color. So it's just fascinating. You got to go see it.
That's really cool. I'm
You have
definitely
to,
gonna check that out.
you have to go see it. I'm sure you can YouTube it now and just put on some headphones and sit
Yeah,
back. And
yeah.
plus, Dark Side of the Moon is a masterpiece. But
Right.
anyways, talk to me about some of your biggest vocal influences. I know them because I know you, but the people watching do not. So tell us.
Sure, yeah. I have three. The first being Aretha Franklin, because she is the first woman who inspired me to sing to begin with.
Yeah.
The very first time that I heard that first wail in respect, that like, what you want, and I was just like immediately, like I was just struck like emotionally,
Yeah.
and I was just like, I want to do
Yeah.
that. Like, I want to be able to like make someone feel something so powerful in one note. Just go,
Yeah.
what you want? Like just right there. Like that's what I know. Boom.
Yeah.
Like that's such a
That's soul.
superpower. Yeah, soul. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So, the singing with soul, with whatever it is that you feel, that like kind of letting yourself feel whatever it is that you feel when you are singing or performing the song,
Yeah.
be it the heartbreak, be it the struggle, be it whatever
Yeah.
else, and just kind of like letting it all out. And that mean, her, Aretha Franklin, and like, Etta James, like you watch them like sweat
Yeah.
on stage.
Yeah.
Okay, like it was like dripping from every pore,
Yeah.
because they were literally just like giving every ounce of themselves into it,
Yeah.
and that's like such a beautiful thing to see.
Yeah.
So Aretha Franklin for sure. I really try to embody and use the grit and growl of Janis Joplin.
Yep. Beautiful.
She's one of the originators of that sound, and it's been a huge influence on what I do. And when I first started kind of listening to her, I tried to imitate it, and I couldn't quite get it,
Yeah.
or I couldn't quite get it right. And then I found a way to do
You
it.
just need to smoke a lot more cigarettes and more whiskey.
So she wrecked her voice for like a lot of ways, and I'm sure she didn't do
Yeah.
vocal warm-ups. Maybe she did, but I don't think so, from what I understand.
Unlikely.
Yeah, right. So then I'm thinking, okay, let me maybe take like the Pat Benatar route, whom I also love.
Mm.
And Pat Benatar was actually a classically trained opera singer before
Ah.
she was like,
I wasn't aware of that.
She was hardcore classically trained before she went the rock, the pop route.
Wow.
Which you can hear in her voice because of the way like that she controls her voice. So
Yeah.
like, and that's kind of like for me what it goes back to is I'm also a classically trained singer. And I'm not particularly into opera. I respect it. It's just not really my thing.
Yeah.
But the technique is 100% in every single thing that I do, in every note that I sing, and every performance that I give. And
Yeah.
it's how I've been able to like growl and wail and
Right.
scream without like blowing out my vocal cords, kind of.
Yeah.
So those two, and then the third, and he just kind of influences me all around from a songwriter to a performer, is Freddie Mercury. Like,
Yeah,
he's
of
my
course.
man. He's my guy. Just like the way, particularly the way that he would kind of sing with the crowd, like the call and response thing.
Yeoman.
He's kind of an all around influence, not just vocally for me, but definitely like probably the first two vocally are Aretha and Janis, and then Freddie after that.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are some big ones.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I saw Little Richard on your wall the other day.
Yeah. I would show it to you guys, but it's in the other room. I'm in my office space. Because I'm in my studio / our guest bedroom right now. But in my office space, I put up vinyls of the people who inspire me the most in my music. So I have Little Richard up there, absolutely. He is hands down one
Architect of rock and roll.
The Godfather rock and roll,
architect.
exactly. You
Yeah.
have you have Howl and Wolf up there, who's my namesake.
Beautiful.
Right? Jules and Howl. Yeah. Jules and the Howl. Howl and Wolf, he's a Chicago blues legend, and
Yep.
The
Yep.
Stones were super influenced by him. Like a lot of that '60s rock and roll sound,
Yeah.
which is what I'm influenced by, was influenced by the blues and Chicago blues music.
Oh yeah, Little Walter and
Yep.
Yep.
All of them, yeah. So that, I have Pat Benatar, I have Etta James, I have, Aretha, Queen, Pat Benatar, I have The Who, I do have the Beatles' Abbey Road up there.
Yeah, I saw that. The Stones.
Yep. Stones, I have the Stones, the Tattoo album, yeah. So it's good.
Yeah.
I like having those influences, around me for a multitude of reasons, but yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely say Aretha's up there for me as well. Being a Detroiter, you just kind of hope that she put it in the water for the rest of us. But Aretha definitely is one for me. Jeff Buckley is a huge influence. What he was able to do with his voice, from the growl to the falsetto to just standard head voice. I mean, Jeff Buckley was just incredible. And then Robert Plant. a lot of favorites, even Rufus Wainwright, Nina Simone,
Mm-hmm.
of course Freddie,
Mm-hmm.
um, Tori Amos even is a
Mm-hmm.
big has been a big influence as far as
Mm.
even falsetto and that
Yeah,
kind of
that's kind of
thing.
on the
But
other side of the coin. I feel like that's really interesting. Yeah, that's cool.
yeah,
That's kind
Chuck
of cool to
D,
hear you. Yeah,
Jack
yeah.
De La Roca,
Hmm.
Andre 3000. So a lot of influence, and I think that's important as an artist to kind of pull from everywhere and have everybody on your radar. I think because
Yeah.
then you put it in the melting pot. And I was talking to the band the other day where it's like you just pull from so many, and there's so many that eventually gets filtered out into your own gig, in your own
Hmm.
like, wow, that's definitely Arthur, that's Brent. Like I've had people walk by us rehearsing and be like, dude, I knew it was you from down the hall. And that's a good thing because if you can find that thing that if you take from Aretha and you take from Howl and Wolf and you pull from
Right,
Freddie,
right.
each little bits, I might pull the falsetto from Tom York and Jeff Buckley and pull the rasp from
Hmm.
Cobain or Tom Waits or Nick Cave and then take the feminine side of Tori Amos and
Right.
the meter and the rhythm of Andre 3000 and that kind of thing
I
and
see.
then
Yeah.
mix it all up and you eventually have so many that it's just going to filter out into something that is like unique to yourself.
I feel like also for you in terms of your timbre, you do a very great a tribute to Brandon Flowers and the Killers. I would definitely say.
Hmm. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah. Like I remember when I heard your voice and I heard it, I was like, oh yeah, I can see it. I can or hear it. I can definitely hear it. So
Brandon's when we do the killer stuff, Brandon is a deceivingly very good singer, and so is the music of the Killers. The
right.
complexity and the guitar, because here we go back to instrumentation. Brandon writes a lot of stuff on piano, and then
Hmm.
a lot of times they'll transpose it to guitar, so that takes him into weird guitar parts. And then Brandon, like I said, some of those songs, man, you have to be conditioned, you have to be strong, but he makes it seem easy, and I think people may not recognize how good he really. He's not a Freddie Mercury or a Chris Cornell. He would tell you that himself, but he's still a very very good singer, and it's no joke.
Yeah,
So, but yeah, thank
yeah,
you for saying that. But
yeah,
he's very good. So,
yeah, for sure.
do you want to play a song?
Yeah,
Are you
absolutely.
are you ready to tell us about this song that you'd like to play?
Yes. Before I do, I just want to say thank you so much to my Howlers who are here tonight. They are, the street team of the
Thanks,
Howl.
guys.
I'm so glad you guys are here. I freaking love you guys. Thank you, Howlers. So I am doing a song that is going to come out later this year. It's called "Your Way Back Home."
Mm,
I wrote this song with my friend again, Gal Bushy. He's a producer and writer here in LA, and
yep.
I told him when we got together, and it was like our first co-write ever, and we're just going with this out of it. I was like, I really want to write something mid-tempo
Mm,
because talking about like, okay, what do I want to do next kind of thing, like. I realized that I had a lot of like anthemic, like rock, like
yeah.
kind of songs, and then I had a ballad, called Enough. That was like the first one I ever did with Jules and the Howl, and I
Yep.
was like, I want something kind of in between. I need something to kind of mix it up in my set, um, and so I think we just kind of started with this riff, and I don't know what it was, but like the lyrics just kind of started
Mm,
pouring out of me, and we just sort of
beautiful.
kept going, and
Yeah.
and I, and then the song just sort of materialized. I think we had like
Great.
a couple tweaks, like or from an orchestration standpoint, but most of that song materialized like that day, which was
Great.
really cool. It was just one of those things. So
Beautiful.
yeah,
It's rare when that happens, but I think it's just an absolute gift. Like something just floats through the room and you get to be the conduit of that and it comes through
yeah.
you and you just get that gift. It's happened to me a couple of times and I've talked to some songwriters and they're like, yeah, that's never happened to me. But I've been fortunate to have that happen on a handful of occasions. And one time in particular, I was working with my buddy GK, who was in the Barbarian Overlords with us, and we're working on this Arthur Autumn song, and we're like, hey, gee, let's write some stuff together. Let's collaborate. Let's see what we can do. And he's a great guitar player, and he's a great artist, musician as well. So I was like, GK, let's write something. And I'm trying to think if I had a basic idea for the lyric or not, but literally he started strumming chords, and they weren't complicated, and they don't need to be. It was just like C, G, whatever. So it was pretty, simple to write over, and
Sure.
and that's just fine. But literally by the end of the 3 minutes of that jam, we had a song. It was like unbelievable.
Wow.
Now I had to go back and fine tune the lyric, of course, and the
Yeah.
arrangement, but literally I said, gee, just give me a verse, give me a chorus, and let's just roll. And by the end of those 3 minutes, we just stopped and looked at each other and laughed. Like, oh my God, what just happened? And of course it wasn't perfect. And anybody who says a whole song awry is probably lying to you.
Right.
The
Yeah.
whole
No,
thing
that's
wasn't
not
there,
the thing.
but I call it the meat and potatoes of a song.
Yeah,
Like,
the
if you-
gist. Yeah.
I start with a hook, and really quick, by the way, before you start, tell us about your songwriting process. Like
Yeah.
what comes first? How do you get rolling? How do you do it?
Yeah, I do a lot of thinking and ideas while I'm driving, which is not a good idea, but it
Mm,
just happens. But no, in terms of the process, I tend to write the lyrics and the melody at the same time,
mm,
just because it usually helps me figure out the phrasing and
yeah,
whatnot. But as of late, that's been kind of the opposite, in that like I have like one or two songs in my, my notes, if you will,
yeah,
that are like lyrics are done, no question, no problem, but I have no music. And then same thing,
yeah,
I've got my next like big anthemic song in my head. I
mm,
just don't have the verses written.
yeah,
I know what they're
yeah,
going to be about thematically, and I haven't pulled them out of my head yet.
yeah, yeah,
So, and that's weird because that usually doesn't happen for me. Like usually I can kind of get the lyrics and the core and lyrics and the melody pretty much in one go. Like I'll keep tweaking it and tweaking it, but for me, like I try to just kind of write as much as I can in that moment, because that's the
yeah,
moment that I'm feeling. That's the moment that I'm feeling the inspiration, kind of thing.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, this one was one that followed that trajectory, and that just was pretty much lyrics and chords. Then we fine tuned it, whatever later.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know if that means that like my process is changing, or if that means that I just need to co-write those. Like I don't know what that means, but you
Hey,
know,
sometimes it's got to simmer. Sometimes
yeah,
it's got to sit in your soul for a little bit and kind of pick up speed, or sometimes it just happens in those 3 minutes. But
yeah,
that's the beauty of songwriting, is there's no right or wrong answer. No
right,
one can say do it this way or do it that way. Just do it.
right,
And whatever way works for you works. For me, I have no real rhyme or reason. I try to write all the time, and I try to just write it because I'm a writer.
right,
But I really don't have a way, and I think that's the beauty of it. It's like, okay, if it's gonna, like, during quarantine and stay at home, I would literally just, get up in the morning, and I have coffee, and I'd meditate and work out, and then I would just go to work and lock myself in the bathroom, and I would just try and write. And some days, something wouldn't arrive, and some days it would, but I would just pick up the guitar, or if I was writing with the Overlords, I would listen to the music that they sent me, and I would just kind of just go for it. Like I don't have a way. I don't have like music comes first or the lyric comes first. I would probably say it's more or less like, okay, I have this title called The Best of a Bad Year. Okay, I love that title. I can roll with
right,
that, and then kind of formulate. Once again, the meat and potatoes. I'm a hook melody guy. I'm a Cheap Trick, Beatles, melody guy. Like melody, melody, melody. And so once I find that, I guess I just kind of work around it, and however it happens, happens. But I don't know. Half the time I can't even remember how I wrote the songs, and how they came about. I just kind of, it's weird. I really
yeah,
can't. I really
yeah.
can't. Like if someone said,
Have you ever dreamed of songs?
yes, yeah,
Okay, that's only happened to me twice. And one song was not good. And the other song, like I tried and it just did not come to fruition. Have any kind of come and turn into anything for you?
Well, once again, you just get little bits. I've heard,
Yeah.
like Paul McCartney dreamed up yesterday. Uh, and he got up and he went to the piano and he worked it out. So I've had moments like that where they've kind of appeared or one line like, whoa, I don't think I could come up with that when I'm in my normal state. That wasn't me because I'm not that good.
Right.
You know what I mean? So then you write it down. You're like, okay, I'm gonna see if I can make something out of that. So,
Bang that out. Yeah.
um, Electric Moon was dreamed up in a dream.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Well, long before when I was looking at property for the Electric Moon and do the whole brick and mortar and do the whole shebang, and I was working with some realtors showing me some stuff, and I was looking around, and then the pandemic hit, and I was like, well, I have to do this. I have to do this, and I have to do it now, and I want to do it now, and I just have to do this. And what am I going to do? This global pandemic, people are being told to stay home, and we've got this thing on the
Right.
horizon. I can't do it now. I'd be foolish. So I was sleeping one night, and I woke up, and I sat up in bed, and something had called and told me to say, do everything online. Create a venue that is straight up online. You have a merch table, you have a live stage, you have an art gallery, you have coffee, which we have Electric Moon Coffee, and just do it online for now, Brent. Just do it online because that's what you can do, and you can kind of get your name out that way. So it was literally just like, and it's the first of its kind. No one's done what we've done. There's been things maybe a little bit similar, but no one's created what we've been able to do. And it came to me in a dream, and I just like, okay. I called up, I think I asked around some friends, and I got with Evan Morton, who I've worked with on some
Evan.
videos. And I said, do you know anybody, man? You're in this world. And he's like, yes, my buddy Mike Austin. And I'm like, really? Okay, give me his number. So I called up Mike, and he's like, whoa, we kind of hit it off right away. And this was a couple weeks of conversation and trying to really like figure this out. And right out of the gate, he's like, oh my God, we got to do this, man. And eventually just came down to, all right, man, start sketching. So I got my little pad and started sketching all the rooms and everything that you see. And he's like, get the sketches to me and we'll find some artists to do it. And we went through a few different people, the whole rigmarole, and we found Miguel Chavez in Argentina, who we're so grateful for. And then it just came to fruition. But so that was definitely a dream moment that has changed my life.
That's cool. That's cool.
So
Yeah, and Miguel and Mike have been real geniuses in bringing that into reality. So yeah.
pretty much, and I'm very grateful. You're only as good as the people around you and the love that
Amen.
you feel. So that's just,
Amen.
and you've been such an influential part of our growth as well. So
Well, I'm grateful to be
grateful.
a part of it.
Will you jam a song? Will you play a song for us?
Yeah.
That would
All
be
right.
wonderful.
Let's see. So I'm gonna back up to the
Yep.
invisible piano that you will not see, but
That's a great. That looks like a. Have you heard of the nudie suits from the country scene?
the what now?
They're called nudie suits after the guy who designed them. His last name was Nudie. So a nudie suit is very country. I think Janis Joplin wore them once in a while. Brandon Flowers wears them. Jenny Lewis, but they're typically kind of flamboyant suits with flowers and
Oh,
different.
you're talking about my jacket.
Yes, it's very much like a nudie suit.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
look
was
it
like,
up later. I can't remember his first name, but his last name was Nudie. That's why they're called nudie suits, and they're just flamboyant suits. Look it up.
oh yes, I think I know what you're talking about with Jenny Lewis. I think I do. Yeah.
She's heavy into them. She was for one tour, but I still have to have one made, but I would love that very much.
You're putting dangerous ideas into my mind.
That's right. That's right. Get a nudie suit. Have one made. You can make it yourself technically.
On it, freaking on it. All right. So yeah, this is excuse me. This is "Your Way Back Home" by me and Gal Bushy.
Beautiful.
All right. Can you hear that? Okay.
I got you. Yeah.
All right. Cool. sunlight. Gonna be okay on the other side without you. Without you. The road is in my mirror, I ain't looking back. For once I'm seeing clearer than I did in the past without you. Without you. When all the dust is settled, will you be alright? Your lonely heart is calling. Will you leave it all behind? Tell me how are you gonna make it on your own? Until now, you never had to be alone, going fast without a map, driving into the unknown. Sometimes you gotta get lost to find your way back home. Holding on to grudges never worked for me, so I'm holding on to something that'll set me free to let go and move on. I can't change what I did yesterday, and I can't take back the words I said, so let go and move on. The past is etched in stone, the future's in the sand. What's dead and gone is dead and gone, the rest is in your hands. Tell me how are you gonna make it on your own? Until now, you never had to be alone, going fast without a map, driving into the unknown. Sometimes you gotta get lost to find your way back home. Your way back home. Your way back home. Oh, tell me how are you gonna make it on your own? Until now, you never had to be alone, going fast without a map, driving into the unknown. Sometimes you gotta get lost to find your way back home. Your way back home. Your way back home.
Wonderful. That has a big chorus.
Yeah.
That's a great chorus.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
It sounds like a song that you built a garden out of a bad experience, and sometimes you have to go through the valleys to get to the mountains.
Right. Sometimes
Yeah.
you gotta get lost to find your way back home, you know?
That's right. That's a great
Yeah.
lyric.
Thank you.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
Now,
Yeah.
how did that one come about? Lyric first, or melody, or piano, guitar?
You know, sometimes the riff itself is what kind of inspires the vibe or the lyric. Like the first thing I do usually write the verses, then the chorus. That's kind of usually how I do things. Like the first thing I did
The verse, you
was,
write the verse first, then the chorus?
I usually do, yeah.
Interesting.
I know it's kind of
Interesting.
backwards, but yeah,
Huh.
I usually write verse chorus kind of thing. And verse
Wow.
is what comes to me first. Yeah, but that's why again, like talking about one of the songs I have that I'm working on right now. I have the hook. Like I have the entire hook. It was the first thing I had. I had
Great.
it. Oh, the shower. The shower is also one of my best places to write. Like hands
Of
down.
course. Yeah.
So,
Bathroom.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, this hook came to me, and I was like, "Ooh, this is like Shadows of the Night, Pat Benatar vibes. Like I'm
Mm.
feeling this." And then I was like, "Fuck."
Yeah.
Pardon my language if there's any children here, but I was like, "Crap." I was just like, "Oh, dang! Like this is gonna be a great song, and I can't find it."
Yeah.
That's fine.
But
So
that
this
you gotta make it on your own.
right,
Great,
yeah. So
great melody.
thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a great, a really just like kind of natural co-write that happened between me and Gall, and we've been working friends ever since. Yeah, the first thing that came to mind was this. Sometimes I just if I'm in a co-write, sometimes I just kind of play whatever
Yeah.
it is. I might have something going, I might not, and so it was just driving on, riding away under the sunlight, gonna be okay on the other side without you.
Great.
I thought the song was gonna
Great.
be called Without You, and then I was like, no, I hate that. I was
Yeah.
like, this is it. I was like, there's got to be something else around, and then I don't know. I think it was sort of the magic of the moment / just like that kind of magic of like a first co-write. So like just was sort of there, and then I kind of kept coming up with the lyrics after that, and again, Gall and I would kind of go back and like fine tune some of the lyrics more
Yeah.
and offer ideas,
But also
yeah.
that verse you can kind of use into an emotive launch pad into a chorus. So if you do have the verse first, like, oh, okay, ba da ba 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 dee bi da ba, and now so that verse can kind of come first, I guess. Makes
Yeah, and
sense.
the other thing too is that like as of late, I have not been writing pre-choruses very often. I'll just come back here. Pre-choruses very often. I don't know why. I've just been like tossing them out the window. I just have. And yet this song is like it has a pre-chorus, it has a bridge, it has
Yeah.
a oh, like it has a whole. Well, it doesn't have like a verse as a bridge, but it has the oh.
Yeah.
And that was something too, like because sometimes for me, I actually like imagine even the production elements of how it's gonna go.
Yep.
Like I sometimes like for me too, like if I can see the music video for a song, then I
Yeah.
know that it's like then we're on something. I know that it's gonna
Sure.
be good. And
Yeah,
this is something I was like very visual, like telling. And this is also too like this is sort of me tapping into more of like folky-ish
Great.
roots because like driving into the sunlight, like the road is in my mirror,
Yeah.
clear, it's like there's a
Imagery.
lot of like car stuff there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's a cool thing. You mentioned something about finding the chorus and the verse, and they sometimes they just come together too, and they're just destined. And I'm a huge bridge guy, more in rock and roll, not as much in my solo work because it's a different vibe, but in rock and roll I'm just a huge fan of the bridge, like the Killers. I think there's a bridge in every one of their songs. Our Lady Peace is the king of the bridge. But yeah, I've always been a bridge guy and a pre-chorus guy because it sets up a ramp for the chorus, and it's a change. It's a musical change
Right.
that keeps things interesting, But
I think that's why part of me wonders if I've just gotten lazy, honestly.
Yeah.
Like that could entirely be it, but like I think that's been lately, like when I've been writing, that's been like my little challenge to myself is okay, you need to try to do a pre, you gotta try to do a bridge, like just try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't need it. Sometimes you don't need it.
Right,
You know?
and I think that's very true too. Like there's a song that I'm working on, and it's one of those things where I'm just fine tuning it, and I can't quite get my finger on it. But I'm in a song club through the LA Songwriters Collective, and I sometimes go on Thursdays. I presented a song, and one of the feedbacks that I got was like, hey, this is great, but I really think this needs a pre-chorus. And you don't need to take feedback all the time, and I have gotten some great feedback at the same time. And I was just like, I hear what you're saying, but I don't hear that for this song. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you just don't, and it's not even like laziness or like because you're afraid to try, which has both of those things have definitely been the case for me sometimes. But sometimes you're just like, no, I'm not feeling it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Look at Losing My Religion by REM. That is
Right.
one continuous chorus. There's not really a verse, there's no bridge, and it worked. I mean,
Right.
it just that's the beauty of art, no one can tell you how to do it. Just
Right.
do it, and your way is your way, and that's just how it goes. And it doesn't matter. It could be three chords like Let It Be, which is probably one of the biggest songs of all time, or it could be a Jeff Buckley song with all kinds of chords or whatever. It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't, whatever feels right. So,
Sure.
should I play a song for the kids?
Please.
Yeah, I think I may have done this one on this show program before, but it seems fitting, and it'll seem a little bit more fitting as we close out our conversation, but so I'll do this
Lovely.
one. Let's see here.
What's it called?
This is called One Eye Open, One Eye Closed, and this is off of 2018's Your Heartbeat's Revolution, the Arthur Autumn record, available on vinyl at Electric Moon or arthurautumn.com, but it also comes with a downloadable digital card as well. So that's how you can find it. And this song is kind of was kind of addressing it was probably written around 2006. No, this was written last minute. This is the last song that we wrote for the record because we needed some more material. And I remember writing this one, kind of, not really, but I remember doing a scratch take on my phone and sending it to my producer. And he was like, whoa, yeah, that's it. That's the one. And we ended up doing a video with some kids and showing how, the negative things of bullying and then how they all came together. So if you can find it on YouTube, but we did a video for it, and it's just it's a message of love, and here it is. Be still and go on to bed. Nobody knows what lies ahead. If life is short, to say the least, we're in the belly of the beast. So be kind round every turn. Don't let your feelings inside you burn. Be still. Be still. Be still. Like swarm bees in a cabinet cloud, pick up your sand for miles around. Yeah, around. You build all your bonds, you tear down the schools. It's not what I learned, it's not the golden rule. Yeah, the rule. So give something true. See right through. So give us something true. Yeah, I guess I sleep with one eye open. I'm checking my pulse. Is everybody breathing? I guess I sleep with one eye open. Jagged as a river that runs in your veins, wild as a horse that slows its race. Yeah, it's race. eyebrows raised, brought on with a sneer. Yeah, sneer. So here's something true, we see right through. So here's something true. Yeah, I guess I sleep with one eye open, I'm checking my pulse. Is everybody breathing? I guess I sleep with one eye open. I wanna go to Mars, I wanna be around, rubbing my eyes as the ship goes down. It goes down. We're coming on strong, we're coming on quick. Ain't nothing you can do that we can't fix. We can't fix with love. We'll give us something true, we see right through. So give us something true. Yeah, and I guess I'll sleep with one eye open, I'm checking my pulse. Is everybody breathing? I guess I'll sleep with one eye open, I'm checking my pulse. Is everybody breathing? I guess I'll sleep with one eye open, one eye closed.
Yay!
Right. Woo!
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
power of rock and roll and music. Let's talk about. Thanks for listening to that, Jules, and everybody out there. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
Let's-
I loved the. I think for me actually the most powerful line was "Be still," because especially knowing that is paired with a video to children, like that's just so. It's everything from like your anxiety to your physically be still. You know, like it kind of like inspires like a certain level of peace and like camaraderie.
Yeah.
And I think the guitar tones really that you chose really aligned with that. And I really appreciate when songwriters like if they're going to do a more complex lyrical rendition,
Yeah.
if they're going to have like kind of more to say, then
Yeah.
they hold back on like how many chords they're using or the types of chords,
Yeah.
like whatever. And I love the simplicity of the music so that we could kind of focus on the message of what you were saying. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to throw that out there and say that I really like that. I like that.
Yeah, I don't see myself as really a great guitar player, but I do see myself as a writer, I can't call myself a poet, but that's the aspiration of writing something, and then that's a lot of times when I interpret another person's song, whether it's Dylan or Petty, or we did a Supreme song. I like the idea of bringing out the lyric and interpreting it in a way that is going to kind of bring the lyric to the forefront. So in rock and roll, I was always used to just playing with a loud rock and roll band and just hooks and things like that, and not really speaking personal about myself. And then when I started Arthur Autumn, I'm like, well, this is a little bit more of a what's the word, intimate kind of thing, where it doesn't require a lot of chords. Again, Let It Be is like 3 chords, but it's let it be when I find myself in times of trouble. So simple. It's so simple, but that's all it needs, and that's the music behind it facilitates the words that have spoken to the world, and we're listening to them now. So it doesn't take a lot, and I've never really wanted to do it too complex within the music itself. It's just not my way in that type of situation. So what is your favorite lyric that you've ever written, and why?
Wow. Shoot. Oh God.
I know I had to ask the question of myself earlier, and I'm like, better go through the catalog here.
God, I know. I just wanted to be in it. I mean, okay, from a clever standpoint, one of my favorites is probably "Sometimes You Got to Get Lost to Find Your Way Back Home."
Mm,
Uh,
yeah,
I like the alliteration, like "gotta get," and then just like the whole message of it.
yeah,
And then I guess from a vulnerability standpoint, because sometimes the best lines are the most simple.
yes,
Was
yeah,
from my was from my first song with Jules and the Howl, called "Enough," and that was just I just wanted to be enough.
yeah,
That's all it was. It was just, and it was a very all encompassing song, lyric, and everything for that I was feeling, and I felt that it just sort of like summarized the entire song. Just I just wanted to be enough. That's it.
yeah.
That's all I want.
You just wanted to let it be,
Right.
right?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
hearing that song and the power and the empowerment of that song and the motive power song that you delivered in that I think it's a good introduction to talk about Electric Moon Foundation and what
Yeah.
we're forming together because we're going to be able to do a lot of stuff. We're going to be able to give kids music lessons. We're going to be able to go and into the schools and play rock and roll. We're going to be able to donate instruments. We're going to be able to do so much, mentoring programs and, wherever they need us, paint supplies or art supplies. And we're doing a lot of collaborations as well, with hopefully punk rock and paintbrushes. Hopefully we'll be working with them. But anyways, there's so much that we can do with this foundation. The whole idea is, I've kind of always had my eyes and heart set on using art and music as a platform to speak out, to help create change and
Hmm.
that sort of thing. So with the foundation, it's very exciting to be able to kind of now be able to do this. And music and art, to me, and to you, I'm sure as well, has literally um, saved my life, as a young kid. And had I not found this outlet or been given this gift, if you can call it that, I don't know where I'd be. So I think I'm at the point in my life where it's like, okay, now it makes me feel so good that I need to share it and
Yes.
hopefully save another kid as I was saved by just like, hey man, let's get in the basement and let's write songs. And wait, you're like me? Oh, you like music? You have pink hair? Oh, cool. All right. You know what I mean? And you finally found a collective where it's like, okay, this is where I belong, and this is my vehicle to get through everything. So with the foundation, it's and working with Pam from Alexandria House, who you've yet to meet, but she's been very influential in getting this whole thing launched, and she's a wonderful person. I think she's watching. Hi, Pam. I'm so grateful. We're grateful. But we got quite a team, and you're going to be on the team. Tell us how you feel about Electric Moon Foundation, and what are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I mean, you and I have been working together on Electric Moon since I think pretty near the beginning of it,
Yeah,
and it's been, a real pleasure exploring ways to, make the gift of giving music to children and to others who actually need it to save them. Honestly,
yeah,
it's been a
yeah,
real blessing to be a part of that. Um, I can also think of many times in my life where music has kind of come in right at the right moment.
yeah,
Be it God, be it the universe, whatever you want to call it. But it's definitely kind of come in the right moment. And of course, writing the music for me has been very, cathartic, therapeutic, the whole thing.
yeah,
So being a part of an organization that is so bent on that and is so like this is our mission, um, that's been really cool to really kind of help bring that to fruition, and then to kind of add on the Electric Moon Foundation, where this is like a charitable thing that we're able to do even more,
yeah.
with what we're trying to do, and I will be coming on as a treasurer, which I'm very happy and very honored
Mm,
to do. So if shit goes awry with the numbers, it's on me.
Right,
So,
yeah, right.
but
It's a big
no.
responsibility.
Luckily, my husband has a finance background, so he can always help me with that shit. Yep.
Good.
Yeah. So you had a good instinct in that with Lise.
Okay, good. Well, it's a number one. It's been a real honor to work with you from the start. I think before we even opened the doors, um,
Likewise.
internet wise. I think you've been from the start, and it's been the beautiful spirit that you put forth in as a human being, and in your art, and in your music, and the heart that you have, and the support that you show other artists, and the support that you've shown us, and the belief that in us from the very beginning. It's an honor and a thrill to have you on, and to have you here tonight. I'm grateful, and I thank you for being
Thank
here.
you. Thank you.
So, and we've got a beautiful team around us, I think, for the foundation, and we're going to do some great things. Sunday Night Review, honoring
Yes.
and celebrating David Bowie, is going to be our first fundraiser for Electric Moon. So
Good.
we're
And
very,
since it's rescheduled, I will
February
be able
20th.
to come. So that's I'm sorry you had to reschedule, but I'm glad you had to reschedule it.
It was the best thing to do.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I'll keep you posted if I can sneak you on. I know we're super.
Oh no, don't. No, I'll just be happy to come and just say hi and do just come and see.
I think you'd
music.
be.
Don't even. Yeah.
Danny Hagen kind of missed my invite somehow, and she's like, "Oh, I would have done it, but I'll be there anyway." So you guys will be hanging out.
Danny, oh yeah, give. She'll do great. If you do have a slot, she would do great with Bowie as well. So,
Yeah, well, she's
definitely.
great. So that's gonna be February 20th. Tickets are available now at Hotel Cafe. So we're pretty excited about that. We've got some other things planned, as far as fundraisers and a lot of activities and collaborators that so grateful to meet and to kind of just get this thing rocking and rolling like right away. And we've already made a donation um, to to a dear friend, but we've already begun the work, and it's a beautiful opportunity, and I'm thankful for everybody that's involved. So
Yeah, yeah,
uh,
one life at a time. One life at a time.
we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. It's gonna be amazing. And it's gonna be incredible, and we will change. I try not to say change the world because everybody says that, but I think I like to say we're gonna change the way the world spins around
There
us.
you go.
You
There
know,
you go.
we're
I
gonna
like that.
change its rotation a bit, because even if you purchase you read in the paper and you're like, oh, somebody's down on their luck and their house gotten broken into and he was a victim of a bully and they stole his trumpet, we can easily get a new trumpet and go to his house and give him a new trumpet, and that will
Right.
change the rotation of his world
Right.
forever. So
Right. I mean, maybe it's about changing the rotation of our worlds. Maybe not so much just the giant world as
yeah,
it is, just sort of
yep,
changing the world around you, right?
exactly,
I think that's kind of the most tangible thing that we actually have some influence over.
yeah,
It's just the people in our world, the people in our orbit. The people
yeah,
within our sort of gravitational pull, if you will. Kind of thinking about the moon here.
yeah.
But yeah, I would say that for sure.
Yeah, it's a beautiful opportunity. It's just, again, to be able to do this and to play rock and roll with my friends, and to have someone smile or feel something or say, you know what, I walked in here feeling crummy and now I feel great. So thank you. That's a small thing. We'll be able to do, but every small thing
Important.
counts.
But that's important.
Every little thing counts. So
Right.
do this and to be able, it's kind of like finding your favorite band and then wanting someone else to hear them because that band made you feel so good. So it's like I
Right.
just want to make people feel something. So we got a couple minutes left, I think. Tell us about your DIY course that you'll be doing at Electric Moon, and what the ideas we've tossed around. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I think we're kind of gonna start it off on like a one-time workshop and then sort of grow it from there.
Yeah.
But I very much have always believed that a musician is only as good as their business skills. And you're
Yeah,
like, wait a minute,
true.
no, it's almost as good as you're practicing, as long as you're good. Yeah, that's important too. But what makes or breaks people in order to like break past the mold and be able to do this on a more professional level, you have to be able to be equipped with at least the most basic knowledge, the most basic
Yeah.
skills of like marketing, social media, basic budgeting, organizational skills, and then like just even a general understanding of like what is a copyright, what's the
Yeah.
masters, what's the publishing, like, and even it's like what are the roles in the industry, right? It's
Yeah.
like what is the sync placement, like there's just a lot of like
Yeah.
very like basic things that I think that a lot of musicians don't think about because they're like, yeah, I just want to play the music, and like, okay, that's cool, then maybe this isn't a career. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because
Yeah.
the reality is like when you are a professional musician or a professional artist of any kind, you are also an entrepreneur. You
Yeah.
have to think of yourself
Right.
as a business woman, man, person, whatever.
Right.
And I believe that's a very important skill and mindset to pass down. And so that's sort of the kind of inspiration behind the DIY indie business course.
Yeah.
And workshop, I should say, that we'll be doing. So yeah, but there'll be more to come and more details to come on what we're going to cover for sure. But that's
Yeah,
about
we'll work it out. To touch upon that, I think, the industry has changed like so much. The days of, James Taylor going down to Capitol Records with his acoustic guitar and playing songs for all the execs coming in, and by the end of the day getting a record deal. Those days are
Right.
done. Those days
Right.
are, that's just the reality of it. The bands that are on the big labels, have gotten in before the whole thing crashed. Before, labels now, they don't have the money, or they're not willing to put the money into a young artist that hasn't put in the work. So to get that $5 million two record deal, it's just, those days are pretty much done. It's very rare if you get that. So I think it's important that artists learn how to do it themselves, because that's what labels are looking for. They're looking at like,
Right.
wow, this person's selling records out of their trunk. This person has a very strong presence. They're out playing, they're doing it. And then, to get in that orbit, you kind of have to understand licensing. You have to understand how to make your own show posters and write your own
Yeah,
songs. And
it's not just like, okay, I want to do this for a living, like let me understand how the financials work. It's also just honestly protecting yourself, like just
yeah, that too, and being smart.
Yeah, because there's just so many ways, like
Yeah.
honestly, that you can get screwed, intentionally or unintentionally, And so just kind of knowing your basics, like kind of like what to look out for, what to, who to go to if you're not sure, kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's just really important, And so
Yeah.
it sort of comes down to like, protecting yourself, educating yourself,
That's
and
it.
preparing yourself, because the more prepared you, so for example, like the more that you know.
Education, protect, prepare. There you go.
Exactly.
There's the
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. Protect,
That's it.
educate, prepare. There you go. That'll be the
Yeah.
little slogan of the whole. That'll be the slogan of the DIY course. You heard it here first, folks.
That's right. That's right. Nice word, Jules.
All right. Thank you. I try.
Yeah.
Put me on the spot more often. No.
Yeah. Put you on the hot seat.
There you go. No, but it's just very important to me that people are as prepared as possible. So talking about like, some people still do think that like, okay, well, all I have to do is just get signed to a label and then everything will be fine. Everything will be done for me. Yes and no, because if that is what you want, then you're going to have a lot less say and control over what happens. If you are, if you have something going for you already, that's ultimately going to be the most attractive thing to labels, because they want to sort of
Right.
The best analogy that I heard was, if the label routes what you want to go, which is not for everyone, but if it's what you want to go, you want to already kind of start the spark going with your
Right.
fan base, with all
Right.
your back end stuff, whatever.
Right.
And then the role of the labels to come in and pour the gas on the fire so that it can spread. But you have to light the spark. You have to find a way to do that. And there's
Right.
a bunch of things that go into it. So
Right.
we'll be covering a lot of that. It'll be sort of a good like overview. The workshop will be a good like overview, like, okay, here are all the things that are involved. And then,
Yeah.
if the course proceeds
can't wait.
then down the lines when we can kind of specify like, okay, day one's this, day two, whatever. So
And you're perfect for that, because you've really done your homework. You've really done your homework, and it's very impressive. So you're perfect for kind of teaching this course and kind of delivering what it takes. And I think it, like you said, anybody who says, "Well, I'm just gonna get signed and play music," well, that's a real dangerous place to be, man. That's kind of like saying, "Well, I'm gonna date this guy or girl and they're gonna save me." That's a
Right,
real
exactly.
bad that's a real bad place to be. And
Right.
again, maybe back in 1972 that was a little bit more likely. You just, you're the Grateful Dead and you just go out and play, or Janis Joplin, and Clive Davis is in the audience and be like, "Oh, Janis, come with me."
Right.
Well, that maybe back then, sure. They just, but nowadays, man, you gotta get hip to this stuff. And you see some of these
Yeah.
bands that I've worked with, the Rebel. They're dialed in. They've got an amazing studio. They were out on the road with Hours. They do promotions. They have great songs. Their act is together. They present themselves very well. And those are the bands that, if I was a record exec, or maybe we'll have a label at the Electric Moon at some point, those are the bands that I'm looking for. Those are the bands that I'm like, okay, now let me help facilitate them now and do.
Yeah, well, because it shows that you take your business seriously, you take
Yeah,
your craft, your career seriously, and therefore so should someone else.
yeah, yeah.
So,
And it's different when you're in your 20s. I mean, I couldn't have dreamed up Electric Moon when I was 22. No way. I mean, I was trying to find something to eat to get to the next show. But
right.
I think as you mature and again, taking a course like yours, it's kind of like, guys, this is the reality, and get hip to this. It's kind of like the NFT thing, and coming up with artists working with NFTs. It's like, this is the future, man, and get hip to it and see if you can figure it out and get involved. And it's real important for an artist to have to work as an entrepreneur. It really is these days. So I'm really
Absolutely.
excited for your course. It's going to be great, and I think you'll be perfect to deliver it and have different, where one day you talk about, you know promotion, and one day you talk about, contracts and negotiating with promoters and that sort of thing. So I can't wait. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be a good time for sure.
Yeah. So I think, let me see what else we got going on. Talk to us about, I know you've got we're trying to figure out the show thing for your debut. Have we got
Yeah.
have we got word from Jules and the Howl just yet for your fans out there?
We uh we are still working out some booking details,
Logistics.
but rest assured my howlers will be the first to know. I'll just say that. My howlers are my private
What about
Facebook
me?
group.
I
Well,
won't know firsthand.
obviously that goes without saying.
Oh gosh.
I'm
Wow,
talking
what an
about the
honor.
audience here. I'm talking about the
An honor.
audience here. Yeah,
All
exactly.
right.
But yeah, the Howlers, those are my kind of street team, my go-to,
The group.
the ones who are really like jiving with the Howl and the message and whatnot, and
Yeah.
because like the Howl for me is all about empowering
Yeah.
others to be their full and authentic selves through
Yeah.
music, and so they'll be the first to find out. I'm not gonna lie,
All
but
right.
then after that I will announce to the public, and it'll be a very big announcement when it is ready.
Yeah. We're gonna get there, and I will be present if I can.
Hell yeah,
I will.
absolutely.
Yeah. I'll definitely be out there, and the whole Sunday Night Review gang and Electric Mood gang and all that stuff. And
Yeah.
that's the beauty of what we're doing. Is, man, what a beautiful community. I mean, I'm so grateful, and I'm not gonna
Hmm.
start naming names because then I'll feel like I have to name them all.
I know. And
But
then you like
man,
forget someone. You're like, oh,
man, over this past year, in particular during the pandemic, man, I've met some people that move me, and
yeah,
it's pretty cool, the community that we've got going. It's
right.
pretty inspiring.
Yeah,
So.
for sure, for sure.
So yeah, I think we've covered everything in addition to the DIY course with Jules. We're always offering, music lessons and workshops to anybody who wants to learn, because we're very hungry to inspire, the next generation, and get an instrument in the hands of kids or whoever it is. We have adult um, students as well, and it doesn't matter if you got to drive to learn an instrument. There's so many benefits to it, especially for
Yep,
kids. Cognitive, they
absolutely.
do better in school, and it's a refuge from bullying, and you learn to work as a team. The list is long. So We're always doing that at Electric Moon, which is always exciting. Are you still doing the vocal? Are you doing vocal teaching? Did we decide
No,
that you?
I'm not doing vocal teaching. I'll just be doing
Yeah.
the DIY business course for this one.
Okay, good. Yeah, the vocal, I kind of passed on that as well because honestly, I mean, I do warm-ups now because we do really long shows and I'm
Yeah,
not
warm-ups are
22.
very, very important. They're
I'm
very,
not
very important.
22 anymore, so
Right.
I do the warm-ups now, but I you know, vocal for me is like I don't really know where it comes from, so I don't know if I can really teach it per se. I'll let one of our other excellent instructors do that, but
Yeah,
I just
I mean,
it's like I don't know.
I know what I have been taught, but like I don't think I'd be able to teach it.
Yeah,
Like I can talk about it. I can talk about it for sure, but not enough to be able to teach it, if that makes sense.
yeah, and the thing about vocal too, man, is it's a tricky thing. Like I don't think you can teach, you know, a Freddie Mercury or a Kurt Cobain or a Johnny Cash or a Nina Simone or Aretha Franklin. Those voices, man,
Right.
you can't teach that, man. That's
Right.
just that's in you somehow to facilitate maybe pain inside or whatever. You can't really teach that. I think you can teach a lot and kids can learn, and I think it's a great tool, just with breathing and expression and things like that. But it's delicate ground, and certain singers, it's pretty it's you can't really explain it,
Yeah.
it's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear that. I hear that. Finding a good vocal coach is very important because
True.
having good technique is a good thing to have regardless of genre.
It
So
is, and it's very, to do again, whatever age you're at, do the warm. I remember I saw a clip of Mick Jagger. Somebody was interviewing him backstage, and he was probably in his 20s. I mean, it was early Stones. Of course, he's going to be walking out on an arena too, but he's like, "Please pardon me. I have to go. I have to get ready." And he excused himself to kind of do his thing. So it's really to kind of warm up, and with Jagger, he's always been athletical, so he's probably doing some yoga and stretching and all that stuff. So it's really important to get the tools, because whenever you learn something, you get those tools, you can
right.
really build something from that. And
Sure.
and if you get
For
that
sure.
foundation, man, you can run with it. So
Absolutely.
it's always good. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I think we're wrapping it up. Is there anything else you'd like to tell the howlers out there, or
Oh
anything you want to
gosh.
say?
Thank you for being here. I'm honored to have you be a part of the Howl. And I can't wait to share more of this journey with you, and just be on the lookout for some announcements and whatnot coming very, very soon.
Beautiful. I can't wait. I can't wait. Thank you so much, Jules, for being here, and thank you for being such a vital part of the Electric Moon and our team and our mission and what we're trying to do here, and an
Oh
early
yeah,
supporter. So thank you so
absolutely,
much. It's been an honor, and
absolutely.
I'm such a big fan, and thanks for coming on the show, and we'll keep stay tuned to what you got going on, and I can't wait.
Cool. Thank you, man. Thank you so much for having me, Brent. Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here.
All right, guys, to everybody who's tuned in, thank you so much for being with us. We've got a special treat for February for the Artist to Artist program. It's going to be the third Thursday of each month throughout the year, and we've got some interesting stuff planned with actors and painters and more musicians, and just kind of
Awesome.
keep changing it. So thank you guys for tuning in. electricmoon.org. Go have a visit. We thank you so much for being here. Stay tuned, Electric Moon Foundation. We are going to change how the planet rotates and moves around through love and acceptance and empowerment. So thank you guys for being here. Jules, once again, thank you. Everybody be kind, take care, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.